If you've ever struggled with somebody not liking you, the haters of the world, or you're in the business world and you can't seem to figure out why there's some of this unfair competition in the office, this particular YouTube episode is for you. And hopefully you can come away from it knowing that haters are everywhere. One of the things that I had to deal with whenever I started on social media was the fact that not everybody's going to like the message that you're delivering. As a matter of fact, it won't necessarily be just about the message you're delivering. Some people just won't like you, or in other cases, they won't even like the way you look or the way you talk. In my case, people have made fun of my eyebrows or the scar above my head. These types of things are said to a lot of people, and I think it stops them from getting on social media or stops them from continuing. Hopefully, if this appeals to you, you'll like and subscribe and follow the channel, because that means a lot to me, and frankly, you need more of this in your life. Now that we're continuing on, what I'll say is haters are a part of life, and getting used to the negativity from people that you thought were your friends, or people that you thought were good coworkers, or people that you thought would be enjoying your videos or your content that you're making isn't necessarily one of those things that comes naturally to most people. It's just, you have to grow into who you are and what you want, and you have to understand that some people will not like you no matter what you do. That's been very difficult for me in the fact that I'm an executive at a publicly traded institution. I am an attorney. I'm a practicing, quote, professional, but sometimes putting out content like this can seem to be, well, unprofessional in some ways. So you try to handle it as professional as you can. You try to do all the right things, but you know that not everybody who sees this content will appreciate it and or like it. And some people will find it to be anti what they think an attorney or a banker or somebody in my position should do. The fact of the matter is it doesn't really necessarily matter if a few people don't like it. As a matter of fact, it might actually help you. The problem that most people have is they dwell on these emotions and they want to find a way to turn these negative people into positive people in their life. What I can tell you is that's generally a large waste of your time. The illogical fallacy that you can make somebody who doesn't like you is generally inaccurate. And the problem with that is it requires a ton of your time in changing who you are or your message to get there. Instead, we should all focus on the people that resonate with our message and that like and take in our content. Those who don't like you may comment. They might leave negative comments here and there. They might say pass it on to their friends. But all these things help your social media growth. And if it's people in your office and you're progressing and somebody doesn't necessarily like you for it, or they get very upset, or you burn these bridges, you can't dwell on that, because we're not all meant to grow and excel in the work environment the same way. I struggled for years in the business environment knowing and not knowing why I elevated in some positions and others didn't, and they stayed the same place. The answer to that question is really simple, and it took me a long time to see it. But frankly, their growth is not my responsibility. We don't all have the same opportunities, we don't have the same education, and we don't all have the same desires. Some people are happy in their jobs, some people don't push or work as hard, and some people frankly don't have the connections that other people have. You can't sit there and look at these things and try to dissect what's wrong with you and how you compare to somebody else. You can only accept that you've taken and done the best with the opportunities that you've been given. Another negative I see all the time is that people really hate on other people's success that they've been given, or they've inherited, or they've acquired over time from their parents. You can't judge another person's starting. You can only judge how they finish. If someone's a benefactor of $100 million and you're jealous of them, that's one reason that many people can be haters. But what I'll tell you is that type of behavior only is toxic to you. It's not toxic to the person who inherited the money and is going about their life. And I'll say one big factual overriding principle that you come home with when you meet successful entrepreneurs is that they don't have the time to negatively obsess on other people. If you find yourself jealous or you find yourself wanting somebody else to fail, you should really look in the mirror and do a self-assessment, if you will. Ask yourself why you're even giving that amount of energy and time to somebody else's failure. The best failure you can give them is your own personal success and growth. But 9 times out of 10, they don't care what you do because they don't like you. And they're not focusing and spending time obsessing on you. So the more you try to one-up yourself or compete against somebody else or try to push yourself up and push them down, the more time you're wasting, energy you're wasting, you could be using to propel yourself further up. Because at the end of the day, it's you versus you. And haters or not, that is focused on you. And that's what successful people have all the time. If you're a multimillionaire, if you're a successful entrepreneur, if you're just good looking or you have something that somebody else wants, you will be the focus of their attention. And you can't spare your precious time focusing on their negativity. You need to focus on the things that you can do to continue to grow and be the better version of you. I say this all because a lot of people are hesitant to get on social media, especially those in the work environment. And a lot of people who are out there trying to become successful will be somewhat reserved in the risks that they take. I think all that's a bad decision. There are lots of people now who are growing and propelling themselves forward, leveraging this new medium of social media, which really isn't that new anymore. Putting themselves out there, not afraid of what people think, not afraid of what people say, just because they know that the risk equals a good reward, and you don't get paid for risk you don't take. I hope this resonates with some of you, and if some of you are feeling negativity around you, that you use this time to refocus on yourself, to tune that out and move forward. Because remember, successful people don't dwell on somebody else doing badly. We'll catch you next week.